Tom Brady told Jim Gray, if I knew what I wanted to fucking do, I would have already done it. Here's from the Let's Go podcast, which has been happening for 2 years.
Yep.
This is the most notable and recent clip from it. Jim Gray asking the questions. This one was brought to you by...
Right after he said, geez, Tom, you sound angry. Maybe you want a Morton steak for dinner tomorrow.
Okay, so this question came from Morton Steakhouse, which they have such good meat.
Oh, my God. So juicy, tender.
Such good
delicious.
meat.
Yeah.
Here's from the Let's Go podcast presented by SiriusXM just yesterday.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do?
That's not time.
Regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
Love that. Jim had to ask him.
Yeah.
Jim had to ask the question, and that one particularly because it was brought to you by Morton Steakhouse.
Right.
But I like the fact that Tom's a little fiery. AQ, you know Tom a lot better than us. His hands have been up under your thing. Mm-hmm. 2 towels underneath. Yep. You've played for a team. You've watched him. You won a Super Bowl there alongside old Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Is that what he's normally like? Because that was awesome. That was the Tom Brady that I would like to listen to every single day. Mm-hmm. If that was what the Let's Go podcast was, no, I don't like that they bleeped them. Okay?
Yeah,
We're adults.
Come on.
We're adults. It's SiriusXM. Morton Steakhouse is serving meat to adults. Okay?
Right.
It's not like that whole thing. So I don't love it that I didn't get to hear him say it. It's almost like they feel like they got to look out for Tom. But Vrabel in The Last Dance for Tom Brady called the man in the arena.
Oh, excuse me.
Vrabel said, your little perfect pretty boy quarterback's not that perfect. Okay? He said something along those lines like, what Tom is actually like versus what you all think vastly different is what Vrabel was alluding to. Now we know Vrabel is like top 2, not 2 shit talker in like the history of anybody he's been around. Is that what Tom's normally like? And what do you think Tom is going through right now, AQ?
He's definitely like that. He's very relatable. I mean, in the locker room, he's one of the guys.
He's an alien. All of us think he's an alien.
I know, but he's not. He's so relatable on the field, off the field, in the locker room. Like, he talks shit. He loves to fucking joke around. He loves accountability more than anybody in the world. So, like, that's what you see. You see the fiery shit whenever everybody fucks up. I mean, there was one game where it was on one dipshit, forgot the fucking snap count, dipshit being me. Hey, Q, snap the fucking... You know what I mean? Like, he is fiery. Like, if you're not doing exactly what you're supposed to do, he's on you, he's fiery. So, like, he's exactly what you want as a quarterback. To allude to what you were saying, and this goes back to Aaron, too, what's the question? Like, what is the sticking point that says, yep, that's it? What tells me I want to come back?
I don't know. I think it's like a feel.
Is it a bunch of things? Is it one thing? Like, 3 weeks from now, we're going to sit there and be like, yep, I still want to play football. Like, if you want to play football, you want to play football.
So I'm a big universe guy strictly because I haven't figured out what religion I believe in, and at some point in my life I will do.
Sure.
So I just say the universe. Now, when I'm speaking to people of different religion, whenever they're talking about their God, I just enter universe in there. And then at some point, hopefully I'll be able to figure out which one I believe in and everything like that. Because I enjoy learning about religions. I enjoy listening to people and their beliefs. I find it very fascinating. So I think we make a lot of jokes about religion, but I also think that we probably know more about more religions than most shows, strictly because I enjoy learning about it. These things have caused wars. These things have caused people to do things that you would never expect. Like, I'm very fascinated by religion. So I always just say, like, the universe. I think what Tom and Aaron would say is their God, what the universe will tell them, right? Like, you hear, I follow a guy who's become pretty religious.
Oh, who's that?
Whenever he says something, he always says, like, God put this on my heart to say. And I'm like, oh, like, I have feelings to say something. Some people view that as, like, God saying that they should say something. I think that is what it is. I honestly believe it's like they feel as if whatever is going to show them or make them feel a certain way, and it's going to be like, okay, I'm doing it. Because Aaron said it, and I assume Tom's the same way. If I'm going to do it, what it calls for is a lot. Mm-hmm. So once I get that feeling, I kind of have to flip a switch, and I'm all the way in, or I'm all the way out, one or the other. So I feel like it's a universe, like, telling them almost, if that makes sense. Like, they get like a feeling, like a vibe almost. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And how does that come? I don't know. Do you whale watch? That's what Aaron's doing.
Yeah.
Do you try to go work out and see how the body feels? And that tells you. Do you go hang out with some boys, like teammates, have a couple beers and drinks and share stories? Like, do you talk to people that are retired? I don't know. I just think they're looking for that type of like fucking guidance almost from within their. That's like, yeah, let's keep doing this. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're looking. I mean, in my opinion, I think they look for what you put together a Venn diagram, right? You got your pros and your cons, right? Like here's this. What overlaps?
You a big Venn diagram guy?
Yeah, you love lists, huh?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, but that's my point. Is what's the tipping point? Like, you know, I just don't want to fucking lift on Mondays anymore in season. That's it. I'm done. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Is it something as petty as that?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, what's the tipping
I don't
point?
think so. I don't think it's something that small.
No, you know what I'm going with.
That
No,
stuff-
but that's a real thing though. Like, are they putting that in there? Like,
Yeah.
my Tuesdays I could spend doing this instead of doing this. Wednesdays I could do this instead of doing this. Is it an overall thing or is it just like a gut feeling? You know, we'll ask Aaron, I guess. I mean, that's a good question. Why don't you ask?
Yeah, AQ maybe.
Could ask this
Oh,
question.
I got a good question for him.
What is it? Did you just say it?
No.
That's a good question, though. What you just said.
I'll let you say that one. And then I got something. He'll probably get pissed off.
Oh,
but
so you
it's
got
okay.
two questions.
Wow.
You got a question through me.
Double and dime.
I'm ready.
You afraid? You sound afraid.
Yeah,
I'm
you
ready.
sound pretty scared.
I am
sound
ready
afraid.
this week, boys.
Do you want to prep your question?
I can't
right
wait. I can't wait to preface it by saying, Aaron, it's so good to talk to you again.
Because you did a couple months ago.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you
yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
You've
Just
already- a hot start.
do you want to
start.
test what you're going to ask him right now?
No.
Yes, Pat, you should probably act as Aaron
ready.
and then maybe see with the AQ.
So I don't think I could. I don't think I could. I haven't read any of these books. I read all these books. Maybe I could
You can
act.
Then, okay.
I could be in the same headspace as him. But are you real? Is it a good question? You think football related or life related?
Football related and life related, I guess. A little bit of both.
Oh,
Football,
football.
is life, isn't
Boom.
it?
Huh?
Way to go, AQ.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good shirt. Ball is life.
Well, and football is life, Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Trademark it for sure. But that I think it's a gut feeling thing. I don't think it's a full Venn diagram. I don't think so. I think it's just a full on. How's the inside? How's the soul feel?
Yeah, and like the stuff AQ was talking about, like, do I want to lift on Mondays? Do I want to, do something else on Tuesdays? It feels like both those guys are at the level where if they do go to a different team, they can probably say, hey, on Mondays, I'm probably just going to be hanging out, or on Tuesdays, I need my G day or whatever it's called. But also a lot of it has to do with the current team that they're on, right? Like you see Tampa making all these changes. Obviously, Green Bay is kind of figuring out their deal with Jordan Love. Maybe Aaron doesn't want to start over, and if the Green Bay Packers decide they want to go with Jordan Love, that he just calls it. That's a very realistic.
Yeah, he might
situation.
just want to retire. But
Yeah.
I think that's a gut. I think that's an inside. I think that's what that is.
at peace with it.
Could you imagine though if it is a beautiful mind and he's got that big glass window over there in Malibu and he's got all the pros and cons in red, pros in green, and he's just looking at this window of everything. I mean, maybe he is that. And Tom would be. I think Tom would be. He takes notes right in every single.
yeah.
No stone unturned on figuring out the right decision because it is my life. Remember, they could say that.
Obviously, they're in a different place than most, right? But I do think most, it's pretty simple.
How do you feel about what Tom said to Jim Gray there, though?
But that's the question, right? Like one day it's just going to hit it. Like that's what I can't even put my mind in that space because they're in a completely different space than I was as a player and most are as a player.
Well, there's
Like,
another side to that too, right? Because what happened with Tom last offseason where he made the decision too early, allegedly, however that went, but then obviously decided, hey, I don't feel this way anymore. I'm going to come back.
And
Yeah, and with his relationship with his wife that we
Bingo.
have to talk about,
Yeah,
now
exactly.
ex-wife, because it's been made so public. I assume that was kind of a,
massive part.
hey, we're probably done, aren't we? We're probably done. And then, other people probably telling him, hey, if you're going to be done, we got to know now. I feel like now there is at least one proponent out of that situation forcing him into a decision. It's almost like he's like, hey, Jim, what are you, my fucking ex-wife, dude? Like,
Yeah.
exactly.
like
Right.
I will.
Yeah.
I will fucking take my time for the first time in my life. How about that? I just enjoyed hearing Tom be a human there.
Yeah.
Because everybody's been a teammate of his is like, hey, you would enjoy Tom. You'd enjoy Tom. I'm like, the guy selling that chocolate on social media videos, I don't think so.
Not
The
sure.
guy that is just like they're like, he's gonna be a good commentator. This guy knows the game. He's one of the guys. He hangs out, he knows a lot of things. He's gonna be a great commentator. I'm like, every time I've heard him talk, it's like robot Tom Brady's talking up there because he's been conditioned, I think, to do that. Don't give anything away. Don't look weak. Don't do anything. Just be professional, be classy, move on. He's been the prototype publicly for a long, long time. Now, granted, there's always the ball inflation
Sure.
levels and
Yeah.
everything like that that's talked about him. But anytime he's ever done a press conference, anytime he's ever spoke, it's always been like the most professional fucking human of all time. And then they say behind the scenes, like, this guy is one of the guys. I'm like, okay. And I think we got a glimpse of it right
But you saw some moments this year. His press conferences this year, he had some good moments.
Yeah.
There's
That
a
was
couple where they
fucking awesome.
Yeah, like there was that one. There was another one where somebody asked a question. I think it was that one.
What?
He
It
said,
was about them-
40 years old. I'm 45 years old. I'm going through some shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I
there was
think
that one,
And
but
then
then
they
the other
talked
one,
about changing the game plan leading up to the like he was putting in stuff that the coaches weren't privy to.
there was
and-
that
yeah.
one, and then the one about quarterback sneaks. They were like, so and so has so many quarterback sneaks. He was like, oh, fascinating, cool, and then just like went off to it. Like, I liked seeing him just being like a dick.
Yeah, I
Like,
enjoy him being a
appreciate
human.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like being a human because every day seemingly was the same day for Tom Brady for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's because that's what Bill Belichick was. Now, Bill Belichick dressed it up vastly differently. He literally didn't dress up at all. He looked terrible
Yeah.
while saying the same thing. Tom always had whatever fit he had, whatever fashion shit he was going through at the time. And then he would just say, you know, we tried really hard. We worked really hard. I got to make a better play there. This guy did this. He's always just like, boom. Movie character, script out of a press conference, Tom Brady character out of a movie, move on. And then on the sideline, you see him fucking throwing the Microsoft.
Bingo.
You see him getting after it. You hear stories behind the scenes of him being a guy, and it's like, what is Tom? What is not Tom? And I think this Jim Gray Tom and the little bit more free Tom at the press conference bodes very well for if he's going to get $375 million to be calling games. Because if he can be relatable and with his knowledge and his resume, he'll crush in the booth.
Yeah.
No offense to Tony Romo, who seemingly the world has turned on.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's big takeaway from Tony Romo is that he doesn't prepare at all for any of these games. Doesn't really look into it, doesn't try because he's Tony Romo. He's been there, he's done that. Like, even if Tom doesn't try or prepare as hard as everybody else does, which we're not saying Tony doesn't, we do not know. This is just seemingly the narrative about Tony Romo and why people don't like him is he's just going in there, guns, which I love. I mean, that's what we do every fucking day.
Corona
Yeah.
tone.
I mean, so it's a whole different whatever, but that seemingly is what people think about Tony Romo in the booth now. Tom is probably going to prepare his fucking ass off because that's Tom Brady.
Yes.
But even if he doesn't, he's been playing up until right now. So he knows the modern game. He knows what the game was. He knows what it is. That should carry him for at least a few years if he wasn't to prepare at all for any of these games. And if he's going to be a human in there, let's go. $375 million is going to be well worth it. I think it'd be underpaid.